Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are live. What's up, Belly Up? I'm your host, Mike, co-host, Zach. If it sounds anything like it does this entire 2022, yes, I am sick again. I love it. Zach, how's your 2022 started off so far?
Yeah, I was going to say it definitely sounds like it. And I saw you tweeted a couple days ago. You hated 2022 already. Yeah. So it's been a rough one for you.
Yeah, this week I popped two home COVID tests just to make sure. But yeah, I don't know what it is about this year, but yeah, I mean, we're back, we're here. Just to throw it out there real quick, next week we will be off. Zach's making the big move, big old city boy. He's gonna be moving. He's got all of his for people watching live right now. We're on YouTube, Tiki, and Twitter. Zach's got his Memphis gear on, rocking that before he heads out. I know if you guys are listening past, you know where we're going. But Zach, you wanna mention what the plans are?
Yeah, man, heading down to Tampa, Florida. 6 days from today, we'll be heading out, and 7 days from today, so about a week from today, I'll be unpacking boxes in the new place. Super excited about it. Like you said, rocking the Memphis gear because only got 6 days left to do it. And yeah, man, just packing up. Still got boxes behind me, selling stuff, getting rid of stuff. We're throwing a couch out. We're throwing a whole bunch of stuff out. I threw so many bags in the dumpster today that shattered when I hit the ground. It was.
Doesn't it make you like you're going through it and you're like, you finally decide you're going to part with it and you're like, why the hell did I just let that like sit in my house for like the past 4 years?
Yeah, that's a lot of what it was. You're like, I can't believe like it took me this to get rid of this. Like, and it's only because we want to save space, you know? That's it.
There you go. But obviously, so we'll be off next week. Good luck to Zach and his move. But we've got a big show for you today. Obviously, we're finishing up the football season, so there's a lot of football on the docket. We're going to talk about our guy, Joey B. I think we're both big fans of him. You know, we had a listener question this past week. We'll talk about our boy Stafford, the Steelers, Eagles, Dak and Romo. Then we'll get into some NHL, NBA, NCAA. So with that being said, NFL, excuse me. And that's, yeah. Here we go. I told Zach, I said, I'm going to be on the mute button quite a bit this week.
Yeah, we don't have anyone to edit those out. So
yeah, I get the cough out. So I apologize right now, but I had to. We pushed through the show, but anyways, we're gonna start right in the NFL. Like I said, Joe Cool gets his first playoff win. Kind of a weird game. You saw the weird whistle taking the touchdown off the board. They still won. Overall, how you feel about Burrow getting his first win? Being as young as he is, that game, and do you think they have any steam going forward where they can make a decent run?
You know, it's obviously cool for him, and I root for Joe Burrow. And, you know, I know we're going to talk about Stafford in a minute, but it's nice when you can get that first playoff win early in your career, and you don't have this stretch of people talking about you how you can't get playoff wins. So it's good for him. I thought the Bengals were the better team than the Raiders. There was an inadvertent whistle like you talked about. It was weird. It was almost like it went off like – They say mid-play, but it was almost as he caught the touchdown. And, I mean, obviously the play played out the way it should have always played out because he didn't step out of bounds, and it should have been a good touchdown the whole way. But I guess the rule book says if the inadvertent whistle goes, you replay the down. So people were, you know, fussy about that. I don't have a problem with it because it should have always been a touchdown, I think. You know, the whistle didn't go early enough for the defense to quit on the play. You know, so, but yeah, cool for Joe Burrow. I think they've got I still think they're the lowest odds to come out of the AFC, but you know, they've been doubted all year, so it'll be interesting. You know, we'll get into the upcoming games in a little bit, but I think dangerous.
I talked about it last week. Outside of the offensive line, I mean, that's a young nucleus. That's a good team. So. Do I think they're going to – jeez, this is going to be horrible. Do I think they're going to make a deep run? No, probably not. But I think, you know, they definitely got a lot of things going for them, and they'll definitely be a team to reckon with, especially in the AFC, that division that they're in, that, you know, Big Ben is pretty well gone. Who knows what's going to happen with the Browns. And then Baltimore, you know, I feel like that division is opening back up. So it'll be interesting to see. It's theirs for the taking. Really, really good nucleus again around them. So great overall. Great performance by him, and it'll be nice seeing where they go. But yeah, I don't think they're going to make a real deep run. But anyways, listener question that came in this week, kind of keeping with the AFC here. What keeps Bill Belichick in New England next year, in years to come, even? Because he did make the mention that he's going to be 70, or he wants to coach again, but it kind of left it open. What I mean, we talked about Mac Jones. New England was kind of your team that was under the radar. Mine was Green Bay. They didn't. I mean, it was a horrible loss.
Yeah.
But what do you expect for a rookie quarterback? But I mean, does Bill Belichick just kind of ride off in the sunset? Do you think he's coming back? What keeps him there? Or again, just whether it's 1 year or a few more years.
You mentioned Mac Jones, and to me, I think if there's anything that keeps him there, it's hard to say, because to me, Belichick loves the defense of the game, and he really just loves all aspects of the game. He treats special teams as important as defense, as important as offense. So, but I think if there's a twinge of drive or ambition in Bill Belichick, it's to pan Mac Jones out as best as he can. And even though it was such a bad loss, like you mentioned, I mean, the Bills trounced the Patriots. I think Josh Allen had more touchdowns than he had incompletions. I think I saw that. So
yeah.
And so, he's got a long way to go, but I think if he wants to treat Mac Jones as a project, that could keep him there. But it's hard to picture Bill Belichick anywhere else. I know he has been other places before New England, even started in Detroit, but being the age he is now, it's hard to see him anywhere else.
I feel like this is like the opposite of Brett Favre. Like, Brett Favre was the player. He had this career. He kind of went on. He bounced around for a few teams. I don't think Belichick would do that. But at what point does it get to be where, like, Belichick really needs to be in the NFL to prove anything? Right. Or maybe he is trying to prove, hey, I don't need Tom Brady. Maybe that was so far under his skin that this is what keeps him. I think it definitely can go. It can go back and forth. But I think maybe this is what actually keeps him around and kind of drives him to say, because I know that Tom Brady stuff still stings no matter how it was put. But I think maybe that's the one thing that says, you know what, I'm going to show everybody that I can do this without Tom, kind of what Tom did last year. So it'll be very interesting. I think he'll definitely at least stay 1 or 2 more years. Guy's going to be 70 years old. It's hard to believe, but yeah, when does it get to be too much and you kind of taint that legacy? But I think he's still right where he needs to be. I can see maybe I think 2 years max is what I see.
Do you know off the top of his head, how does his contract situation? Because isn't he also like the GM, right? Like that's right.
He's got some kind of there's so many different things in the league.
Can he just leave once, or is he on a contract?
I'm sure he's got like a contract, but if you have that in writing, you have opt-out clauses. But I mean, most of these coaches, especially when they get to that age, they can do different things. So there you go. Pesky report. Yeah, there you go. The old New England, the Red Sox podcast. They're going to know obviously about that. So, but yeah, in general, so that translates to that. But like I said, I give it 2 more years. But I know you just had to talk about New England, so we got that out of the way. So even though that wasn't your question, we're just fielding that question. So
it puts my paranoia to rest, though, for the repeat listeners. That was my biggest fear. So watching the Bills trounce the Patriots was absolutely lovely to me. Absolutely.
Yes, and then I still have to sit there and watch Aaron Rodgers, which granted I didn't have to watch him the first week. But anyways, Stafford, our boy, finally gets his first playoff win. He kind of crushed that Super Bowl side bet that you had going on, Zach. I know you had big money on it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't huge money. To be quite honest, it was chump change money. But I said last week, the winner of that game is who I'm rooting for to go the rest of the way. So right now, I'm pulling for the Rams to win. Like you said, my Super Bowl bet's out the window. I put it on the Cardinals like week 10, I think. So can kiss that goodbye, just stimulating the economy at this point.
What do you think? Huh? Sorry, what do you think about? You're going to talk about the Rams, but what do you think about? This isn't in our topic. So what do you think about OBJ?
I mean,
was Cleveland the issue?
yeah, like it's almost like it had to have been.
Or are you just going to chalk that up to, okay, we knew Stafford was great in Detroit. He had talent, but nothing else. And now he's got a complete team.
Well, I think
He's
Stafford's a better
getting,
quarterback than Baker too. But
yeah.
And I also think the offense has a lot to do with it. I mean, the offense is just so much more dynamic in LA than it was in Cleveland. And you've got, Cooper Kupp who's taken a whole bunch of attention from defenses. And I mean, I didn't see the beginning of this game, this Rams Cardinals game. I walked in, it was 14. Actually, it was 14-0 when I turned it on. The first play I saw was Kyler's interception from his own end zone. And
dude, that was miserable.
It went, dude, so bad. Orlovsky-esque type stuff. And takes it in 21-0. I'm like, okay, my bet's out the window. But it was good. Back to Stafford getting his first win. Good to see. Obviously, you and I have been rooting for the guy. Now I'd love to see him win the Super Bowl. I think that'd be awesome. His first year out of Detroit, he gets it done. I also think it raises his chances of retiring a Lion if he gets his Super Bowl early on.
Do you think though the matchup he has with the whole Tommy boy, Tom Brady, that team is hungry enough to actually get it done?
The Rams.
I know you said you're rooting for him, yeah, but do you think? I mean, I think. Don put in the comments over here, for those of you guys that don't know, obviously we record or we're live tonight, and then the podcast will come out tomorrow. So we field comments over in our section. Don posted a comment, what's the best matchup this week? And obviously a lot of games, but I mean, for potential sake and what's going on, I mean, could this be the best matchup? Tom Brady versus Stafford, these two teams. I mean, obviously there's so much hype around the Rams, so much hype around Tom Brady. I mean, is this the game?
It's funny you bring this up because I do think that this is going to be I think this will be the best game to watch. This is one of the 3 rematches. I saw this weird stat today. There's 3 rematches. So 3 of these 4 games are rematches from the regular season, and all 3 of the first games had 58 total points in them. So very weird. What if these 3 get 58 again? I don't know. Rams won this one the first time around, I think.
Yeah, I don't have a number here, but
it's gonna be a fun matchup. I think the Buccaneers defense presents more problems than the Cardinals defense did for Stafford, but Aaron Donald's also a menace on the Rams defensive side. So yeah, that's gonna be a fun game. That's the first game Sunday, so yeah, that'll be a nice one to wake up to.
There you go. Getting into some not too fun games from last week. The Steelers, the Eagles, neither of those teams acted like they wanted to be in the playoffs. Neither of those teams acted like they belonged to be in the playoffs. Steelers, I had high hopes that it was Ben's last game. It would have been an interesting game. But, I mean, these games were – I mean – and then Ben, I think he essentially left it open saying – he wanted to play again, but now after that performance, he realizes he's done. And I mean, these games were, and I love Jalen Hurts. I said that all year. There was a lot of hate on him for the Eagles. I mean, I watched that game and he was absolutely horrible. And I'm not one personally say that Hurts looks bad, but he looked bad that game. There was a lot of indecision between the wide receiver core. Both of these teams just looked miserable. Was there any takeaways from either game, or was there one team that you just watched and you're just like, I can't believe this is happening? Or did you kind of expect to go down this way?
Yeah, so I didn't catch the Eagles Buccaneers game because I was trapped at the lake house and we lost power. So we didn't get it back until that night. So I missed that game, but I saw people on Twitter ripping apart Jalen Hurts. So I believe you when you say that there was all this communication, and it sounded like when the Eagles scored, it was at the end in garbage time.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. So. And the Steelers, the way the Steelers played, and this is what I tweeted out, the way the Steelers played is exactly why everyone was rooting for the Raiders and Chargers to tie, is because nobody wanted to see the Steelers play in that game. We all knew how it was going to go. Like, it wasn't even competitive. Like, and I'm wrong, because it kind of was competitive at the beginning, and they caught break after break after break, and they took advantage of none of them. And I was just sitting there like, you cannot let the Chiefs make mistakes and not be punished for them it's going to bite you in the ass eventually.
Yeah.
And like
Just
that game was 42-21. It could have been 50-something to 7, like JJ Watt isn't, or if TJ Watt isn't, one of the best defensive athletes in the game, then that game's like 35-0 at halftime. Terrible.
Yeah, and then keeping in the division with the Eagles, the NFC, Dallas, they came out. Obviously, I saw, I think this was today or yesterday, I read something about they finally came out and said Zeke had a partial PCL tear of the season, so he wasn't running like himself. They were all beat up, which I get it. He still had 1,000 yards, but I think what is that? Dak and Romo now they're tied. They have the same playoff record through the first 6 seasons as a starter, both 1-3. A lot of hype around Dallas. I didn't have a whole. I mean, their offense. To me, that offense is probably one of the most explosive offenses outside of Patrick Mahomes and those guys. But they just couldn't put it together. These guys again really didn't look good. Is there? And I say this, I say this sparingly because Dak's been beat up. He's been hurt. The team's got a lot of firepower. They were beat up this year again, injuries. But is there panic around Dak, or is it just it kind of is what it is? They're just going to continue to build. That division's still kind of a shit show, regardless. So no, I mean, what was it? Are we 2 years removed from the team making the playoffs was under 500? So. But yeah, between Dak not being compared, but getting paired up with Tony Romo the first 4 playoff games, both 1-3, you think he can only go up from here, or is it kind of what you're going to expect from him?
Yeah, I'm just so conditioned to think like this is just who the Cowboys are. They aren't prepared to win in the big moment. They haven't been my entire memorable life. Like, so this is all I think that the Cowboys are is. They can't put it together. I mean, you have two, like you said, Dak and Romo, both 1-3 through their first 6 seasons as a starter in the playoffs. And they're two very different quarterbacks, with two very different skill sets. And they can't win. And I saw something too that like Mike McCarthy is 10-9 in the playoffs, which like isn't great, but it's just that, that paired up with the Cowboys never being able to succeed when it matters. It's just who I think the Cowboys are at this point. It's what I will always think they are until they, can reestablish themselves. They're America's team, but I don't get it. It's
and you talk about you brought up Orlovsky tweeting and stuff like that. He's a boy of the show. I've had him on before on What's Up Belly Up. We're gonna have to get him on again, hopefully this year when he's not busy. But he broke down that last play, and I think that last play sums up the Dallas Cowboys of this year. There was no urgency. A straight quarterback run up the middle. Your linemen, your wide receivers are downfield. They're not even huddling to get on the line. Had that play been different, had they maybe have thrown a bomb in the end zone and it was just kind of over, would it have made more sense? Not made more sense, but would have been. We wouldn't be talking about the Cowboys near as much as like what the hell happened. I mean, I think that play and even McCarthy kind of stood by that play. Is like that was the only opportunity. That was the best opportunity you had. I just feel like.
I understood the play because they lined up, there's nobody in the middle. And like McCarthy said at the end, it was the right play. And so what I'm gathering from all this, he says it's the right play. They called the right play. I don't think Dak ran it correctly. I think he needs to slide 5 yards earlier.
Get down. Yep.
Save yourself a couple seconds, get the ball set. Like you don't need those. You're in Hail Mary range or what you consider to be your higher percent. Like that's Mike McCarthy, indirectly saying, we had the right play call. It wasn't executed correctly,
Yeah, and that's what I think. Like I said, you could see no urgency. Those guys were just kind of sitting there. But yeah, it'll be again another team that'll be interesting next year. But again, like I said, that division is. I mean, I feel like this year going into the next year, there's a lot of divisions that are wide open. Even your most competitive divisions in the AFC and stuff like that are wide open because these teams are just beating the hell out of each other. We haven't even talked about the Titans yet. They're activating Derrick Henry, and it's hard to believe that they're only going to get better. That division, it's going to be crazy because some of these divisions are so piss poor. It's like nobody wants to win it, but some of these divisions are so good. It's like everybody's just beating the hell out of each other. So it'll be interesting kind of to see. And with that being said, we'll break down the matchups this week. Obviously AFC, we got the Bengals at Titans Saturday. That's a 4:30 Eastern start. Then we got the Bills at Chiefs Sunday 6:30. Who's your pick in that Bengals Titans game?
I'm gonna pick the Titans. I'm gonna agree with our friend's pesky report here. I think everyone's sleeping on the Titans. I think, let alone being a 1 seed. I think a lot of people just forget that they're even in the playoffs. They're, the 1 seed in the AFC. Oh yeah, it's not the Chiefs. Okay, who is it again? Oh, it's the Titans.
Yeah. And I think this is like the worst case scenario for Joe Burrow in Cincinnati because they're riding a high, and I think that's what it is. Is like you're not even thinking about Tennessee, and then boom, you get Tennessee in the second round. And you're like, oh shit. So I'm on Tennessee. No matter how good the Bengals are, Derrick Henry coming back. They're not going to activate him unless he can play. They're going to ride him.
I think the Titans are going to run like 20 more plays than the Bengals are, but it's still going to be a close game. Like the Titans are going to go like 9 to 10 plays down, and then Burrow's going to take them like 6 plays touchdown, and then 12 plays down, and then 9 plays touchdown.
He does have a lot of magic, so that's one thing. But anyways, Bills Chiefs. This is another great matchup. Seems like it's been the best matchup the past 2-3 years in the playoffs. It'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see your take on this. Obviously, Bills dominated. Chiefs look good too. They always play each other well. Who you got, Bills at Chiefs?
Yeah. 2 teams that, like you just said, coming off, dominating wins in the first round. This is going to be a fun game. And this is the last one. This is a Sunday night game. Right. It's like a Sunday evening, I guess. It's at 6:30. So
yeah,
for the kids, you don't even get to stay up late. That sucks. But I'm going to take the Bills here. I think the thumping they just put on the Patriots, I think they're in high gear, and I don't like the way that the Chiefs came out against the Steelers. As I mentioned earlier, when we were talking about that game, they gave them too many breaks. The Bills are not a team that you could do that against. They're going to take advantage of those breaks, and they're going to put the pedal to the metal. So I think in like a 6-point game, the Bills
really
win.
You got that close. Yeah. So look at these guys over here. For those again that don't know, we're live streaming tonight on Tiki, Twitter and YouTube, and they're dogging me. I got my 2002 not MacBook. That sounds even better, but my Google Chrome. They're dogging my webcam over here, saying that they're going to take up a GoFundMe to help me out with a webcam. But yeah, that's I'm not the pretty one. Zach's the pretty one, so he comes in that 1080. I got the 480 or whatever. So,
shut. Oh, check that out.
There you go. Look at that. It's no need, but getting into the NFC, we got Niners Packers, which I think that'll be a good game. Obviously, the Packers have been sitting the bench waiting for the Niners to play. Jimmy G is played good. Actually, it's funny because Jimmy G is now all of a sudden the quarterback in San Francisco, where all season they've been back and forth. I think he's got a lot of value again. Then obviously the Rams and Bucks. That's actually the early game. Then like we said, Niners Packers are this 8:15 game Saturday. So Niners Packers, who you got there?
All of me wants to say the Niners, which means that the Packers are going to win, and the Packers are going to win by like 2 touchdowns. But I saw that every time that Rodgers has had a bye, he doesn't make it to the Super Bowl. The Niners have spoiled that before.
Yeah.
And they're a good team. I absolutely love Deebo Samuel. I'm to the point where I'm contemplating buying a Deebo Samuel jersey. Dude, I don't buy NFL jerseys.
Even as good as he is, I still think he's very underrated as far as the top tier players.
Yeah, dude. He literally plays 2 offensive positions. He threw a touchdown pass and was that last game or was that the week 18?
I feel like every week he's running a touchdown and he's throwing it, so I don't know.
Did you ever play the NCAA football games back in the day and you'd have like the position, the ATH, the athlite?
Yeah.
Right, that's what Deebo.
You recruit the athletes coming in. There you go.
Yeah,
so
that's what he is.
So are you on the Niners or?
If I'm
You're
giving
just hyping
betting
them
advice,
up a little
I'm
bit just to
saying
say
Packers.
Packers.
If I'm giving betting advice, but I'm going to take the Niners. I'll take the Niners. I think the Niners will do it, dude.
And we throw this disclaimer out every week. We make it very, very apparent. Do not take betting advice from us. Even if we slip it and throw it out there, do not take betting advice from us. But anyway, so.
But when we say don't take betting advice and then we say something, it hits 100% of the time.
Yeah, it usually does. So it makes us look good. So, but Niners, Packers. Packers are my team that I just did not want to see coming off that first round bye. I think they're healthy. They're going to be out there. Aaron Rodgers is going to be arrogant as shit. He's going to drive me nuts. He's going to act like he doesn't even sweat this game. and I think I
Dude,
think they're
it's
gonna.
in Green Bay too. Oh,
Yeah, and he's just gonna sit there with a stupid chin strap, just looking around, like smiling at people, and
he
while
is,
he's
dude.
throwing the ball,
You're
like he
right.
just yes,
And Matt
it
LaFleur
just
is just gonna be on the sideline looking so pretty, just like
chewing his
I
gum.
knew the game plan before, like 3 days before this game even kicked off. Like
It irks me. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers by 100. Um, then we get into this is my potential. Even though, like I said, the Bills and Chiefs would be a great game. Bengals Titans, I think would be a good game. But I think the Rams Bucks. That's the game of the week. Like I said, got your Rams at Bucks. So Stafford and crew going to Tampa. Too bad you're not there. Too bad this isn't like next week's game, man. We could sneak you in out there, but
that's what I'm saying. That's kind of why I'm like I kind of want the Bucks to win another game because then I can
low key, yeah, so you can see the city. But
yeah.
so I mean, are you? Yeah. So you said you want to ride the Rams. Whoever won the Arizona Rams game, you kind of wanted to ride that team. So let's see it. I mean, are you riding the Rams, or is this the end of the road for them?
I'm pulling for the Rams in this game. But I'm not
You're
going to be
pulling for them, yes.
I'm not going to be
But
upset if the Buccaneers win this game. I like Tom Brady
just for sheer fact that you're moving and you want to see that one more week.
Yeah, dude. And yeah, I want really honestly, I want to throw a beer to Rob Gronkowski when he parades down the city. That's all. That's on my bucket list. Let me do that. And
do you know how far you're going to be from that downtown, or like where the stadiums are? I know
I'm like
you've already checked in the
minutes.
Lightning.
I'm like
oh,
4 minute drive. Yeah. So I'll be there. I'll be and I just want to see Tom Brady win as many rings as he can before he retires. Like I don't care if he wins the next 7 in a row. Like to be able to say that I witnessed that and I saw him do that. That would be sweet.
I think this is a hard one for me because I'm on the same. I want to see Stafford continue to do well. I love he went right into LA. And he's a leader. He's a locker room leader. They gave him that captain patch. I saw he got the game ball last week. It's so hard to root against Tom. I mean, it's crazy. So okay, Pesky Report is still over here in our comments. So being a Boston Red Sox podcast, Tom was a huge component of those years and years and years. So even with Tom moving to Tampa, are Boston fans like still rooting for him? I don't know. Honestly, I've never even really kind of paid attention.
I feel like once you're a fan of Brady, you can.
It doesn't matter where you go.
Like I know he had that one homecoming where like they were like cheering him and then they booed him right away, or they flip flopped or something like that. And like I think deep down you're like, he might kiss with his lips too much, but he's still he's good. He's a good guy.
Gotta do what you gotta do. But yes, I am on Tom in Tampa. It pains me to say again. I kind of feel like you. This is one of those. It's hard to believe because years ago I would have looked at Tampa and be like, I don't want Tampa to win. Who cares? But like, there's something. People are now rooting for Tom. So
no, yeah. And let me say, if he was still on the Patriots, no, I would not be rooting for him.
And it's totally.
Only that he made the switch and like was succeeding in
him.
Tampa. That's the only reason I root for him. I hated him when he was in New England.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. So I'm with you there. We'll go with the Bucks. But yeah, so that's our NFL in a nutshell. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, even though we've only had obviously 1 week, but a lot of powerhouses, a lot of big matchups this week. Love to see Stafford take it to that next level, but I think Tom's just one of those guys, just another roadblock. So looking forward to that.
If it goes straight seeds, right, and it goes Chiefs, Bucks, Packers, Titans, who are you rooting for out of those 4 to make it?
Probably the Titans or
bro.
Bucks.
Me too. All right, that's good. That's
cool. Titans,
and that would be cool if I'm in Tampa and it ends up being Tampa versus Tennessee. I might just root for Tennessee to piss off the locals. I don't
know. Yes, they're right there. Pesky Report posted in there. Zach Taylor got the first Bengals playoff win in I don't know how many years. Took the game ball out on the night on the town, which is I think that's a pretty cool concept. Thanking fans for coming out, hanging in with the team. He's a young coach. His first season there, he didn't fare too well, but kind of relating. Some people probably think that's kind of tacky, corny, but I think that's kind of cool. As long as he doesn't pull an Urban Meyer and he's out in the bar, he's having a good old time. I mean, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I don't think it's tacky, but also if I'm at a bar and like a coach walks in and he's like, this is a game ball. Like, or I'm like, or my buddy's like, hey, look, the Bengals are coming in. And that dude, and he walks in, he's like, it's the game ball. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go, dude, it's a fucking ball. Like, I don't give a shit about your damn ball.
Yeah, there you go.
Go win another game.
Yes, enough NFL talk. We do have other sports to talk about. NHL still in full swing. NBA, NCAA basketball. We always touch on, but getting into the NHL, Zach, I know you like this. We talked. What was this, like the first or second episode? We talked about the Oilers. I think they started the season, they were on fire. Now they are the second from last in the division. What's going on there? You're the hockey guy. What's going on with the Oilers?
Dude, it's. I almost feel bad for the curse I put on them because I was like, everybody go watch them.
Them in Baltimore.
Yeah, obviously when I said that, like 90% of the U.S. population went and watched them.
Yes, and
it was just too much pressure, and I feel bad. Honestly, I do feel bad. And as much as I like clowning like Austin Matthews, who was on national television last night on TNT, and they lose 6-3 to the Rangers, who are also a good team, top 5 team. But I love to clown on those Toronto guys, but it's not much better in Edmonton, and it's getting worse. They're wasting some top talent, and they're awful on defense. And it's, to be second to last in their division right now, it just doesn't look good for the rest. I mean, we're only midpoint of the season. Teams are right around like 35 to 41 games played. So they got time, but I just don't see without they play those guys so many minutes, McDavid and Draisaitl, that you start to wonder if they just get tired. And then I don't know if you saw, but Draisaitl got into it with one of the Edmonton media guys in an interview.
Yeah. And there's a lot of high tension there if that's going on.
It's almost like he's crabby, and it's because he played too many minutes early on in the season. So,
and then we got a comment over there. Obviously, Zach and myself are big Detroit guys, but yes, I forget Holland. We got some ties.
Yeah, we
Holland,
passed that mess on to Edmonton. That was cool.
Yes. So, but yes, Zach's a Wings fan. So am I. So we'll jump into that topic real quick. I mean, where the Wings are right now, there's been flashes all year. They pretty much came out and endorsed and said, "Hey, we can." Yeah, Leon was pissed.
That's what he said. That's what the reporter said. He was pissy. That's funny.
They pretty much said that they're content with this roster. They're really willing to build around it. They're excited with what's going on. We talked last week about Lindros. Why am I talking Lindros? I'm
it would be nice to get Lindros too.
I say I'm at least in the right era. But seeing what Stevie Y and those guys are bringing in, are the Wings at the point where they really need to make a push, or just kind of just take the foot off the gas if there is any foot on the gas right now? It's kind of let it be.
It's almost like this kind of situation that they were in when they lost, Datsuk and Zetterberg. Well, really when they kind of lost Lindstrom, and then, the next wave of guys started retiring, getting old, and we went on that run of 22 or something like that straight years going to the postseason. That comes to an end, and then we were kind of in that balance again. We were like just outside the playoffs, but we really needed tank to get better picks. But now, like you said, we're on the opposite because we're on the come up, and it's like, do we want to be successful yet? And it was like a week ago that Bertuzzi and Larkin both got injuries, and it ended up being day-to-day injuries, which is fine. They're back in, but I think if either one of those guys goes out extended time, your season's a wash, and you don't want that to happen with like 15 games left, and you're like right outside the bubble. I kind of hope that they can tank another year. With the garbage years that they've gone through, in the past, like I can do one more year. I'm fine with that.
At least knowing that they're young and there's talent, they're at least fun to watch. But yeah, 5 points out right now with the wild card spot.
Yeah, but the Bruins have so many games in hand. It's like, and then the Bruins, you can't count on like they have. So yeah, we're 5 points out, but the Bruins have 4 less games played, and you're not going to count on the Bruins losing those 4 games. It's tough. It's just a tough spot to be in.
So sticking with hockey, I mean, is the NHL is that running through Florida this year?
Well, right now, top 2 teams in the league are Tampa and Florida, which is in Miami. Well, it's actually in Sunrise, Florida, so it's right outside Miami. And it's just strange to think, man. I mean, this Canadian game that and we were just talking about Toronto doing well this year, but they do well every year, and then they piss it away. Edmonton falling down, and here we are, the two southernmost teams, top of the charts. It's wild. I think it's cool. I don't know that it'll grow the game in Florida. I don't know how much you can grow the game in Florida. Like, I don't even think there's one day out of the year that you could freeze your backyard into a rink. So, but it's cool. It's cool to see that. And it's also just weird. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring this up, the Chara fight where he pretty much just co-cocked that dude, and then as soon as he hit him, he said, "You all right?" He's like, "You all right, man?"
Yeah,
like, you see that?
I saw that.
Yeah,
yeah, right here. Yeah,
yeah. So he literally lit his ass up, and the first thing he did was like make sure he's all right. I guess it's like a testament of being as big of a force that he's been for years and years, but also that he's like that guy that's towards the end of his career where he doesn't need to do that, and he's more worried about player safety and stuff like that. So yeah, it's crazy how those guys.
It's just wild, change. Like how much nicer of a guy you become when you leave Boston. Like it's insane how that works.
But anyways, you got me.
Bro, speaking of fights, did you see the one I tweeted yesterday? It was a 62-second fight between Delorier and
yeah, you said fight of the year.
Yeah, dude, that was I was watching that live. That's why I hopped on Twitter. I was like, oh, what are people got to be going nuts about that? That was insane. That was one of those nostalgic growing up fights.
Before we jump into a quick topic for the NBA, I want to touch on something that if you guys weren't following the old Zach's Twitter, Zach got us in a little bit of Twitter beef this past week.
Oh God.
It inflated some of our statistics here on the What's Up Belly Up, but the Stoolies came out and they were after you and they wanted blood. They were looking for your social security number. They were trying to find your address. You make one pass. Let the people know what happened.
Yeah, so we got off our show here and I was like, as y'all know, most of the time we'll be drinking on the show. Actually, I meant to say this is the first show that neither of us are drinking during the show. So this one will probably do no numbers, but after the show, I was a little drunk, and we just got done complaining about the Packers getting the 1 seed and how boring Alabama and Georgia was. And I see Barstool Big Cat tweeting that he's got Matt LaFleur and Stetson Bennett on his, and I just wanted to rustle some feathers. So all I replied was, 2 guys we literally could not care less about. Just because I don't care about Georgia and I don't care about Green Bay. If they got a G on their helmet, don't talk to me. So he responds, Barstool Big Cat.
Well, hold on. You make the tweet and then you put down the phone and you go to bed, don't you?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yep, this is like the last thing. Like, I put my phone down, I go to bed. Okay, I wake up the next day. Apparently, he had replied to it, and he was like, blah, blah. It's my favorite hyper-specific tweet of all time. The number 1 seed in the NFC and the guy who just won the Natty. Please tell me, Zach, who would you like me to have on? And it took me by surprise, and I was like, oh, shit. And then obviously all these people are in my DMs, or not my DMs, but in my replies, just telling me how much of a brain dead idiot I am and how much scum I am because I'm from Detroit, which I'm not even from Detroit. I couldn't respond.
They were searching, they were dropping your name in Google, trying to find everything they could.
I got 7 calls from the IRS this week saying that my identity was being stolen, 6 ways to hell, and
don't cross the Stoolies.
Dude, And then I kind of got combative about it on Twitter, and I deleted some tweets because I was like, I realized my whole point was to rustle feathers. I just forgot that in the process of sleeping on it overnight, and I woke up and was like, oh shit,
that's yes, I've done that, kind of like that buzz feeling, oh man, this is gonna go off good. Then you wake up, the buzz is gone. You're like, oh, that was fucking stupid. But I mean, I kind of got my point across, but yes, that was funny. So you saw the old view over on Twitter. The page views were going up.
Yeah, they took screenshots of our show and was like, look at this shit. And I was like, dude, come on. Why are we making this personal,
But anyways, moving on to our last topic here. No, actually, we didn't. Pesky Report said, did you get any followers? No, we didn't get any followers, but we got our views and downloads went up quite a bit.
I didn't get any follows either. Just angry people in my replies.
views and downloads went up, but it was probably just for them to tell us how bad our show was, but that's okay. So, but yeah, I think, isn't that what your girlfriend said?
That's what, yeah, she said no press is bad press. That's what she told me. Made me feel a little
But
better.
last topic of the night, we're going to end on basketball. We're not big basketball guys here, but it's funny how wide open, years past, the East and the West, there's always been a dominant division in the NBA. The best team in the NBA in the East right now, they'd be sitting in roughly around the 5th or 6th seed in the West. That just shows how good the West is this year.
Yeah, they'd be right about 5, I think.
Yeah, even with LeBron and in gang choking, I actually saw that Vogel got the green light the other night to essentially bench Russ Westbrook if he wanted to. So they're going back and forth, but yeah, it's that I shouldn't say that sport, but I mean that league is with these big threes moving all over and stuff like that, and even with the bad teams like the Pistons and stuff like that, they're still trying to make some moves. I saw there were some links with Ben Simmons and stuff like that, and then Philadelphia backed out of it. Now they're talking a deal with Chicago, but basketball is, and we always go back to obviously because that's what we talk about, Detroit, the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. That's what were good for Detroit fans. So that's when you had your bad boys. That's when you had your Russian Five, even before that yet. That's when you had, we never had any Lions, but at least for the Tigers, early 2000s, you had Magley and all those guys. So I love it, looking back on stuff like that and how basketball is so much different. And you always got to debate who was better, MJ, LeBron. But I mean, for two guys that don't watch a lot of basketball, is there anything that entices you, like, at all? Like if you see like there's a basketball game on, like, do you just straight scroll by it, or do you like pop into it or anything?
Yeah, so I think it's just one of the products of being a hockey fan is that if there's basketball on, there's hockey on.
Hockey,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch hockey. But I mean the NBA playoffs. I watch the NBA playoffs, and I know, like you said, like the West is way better than the East. It's always kind of had that lopsided thing to it. I don't really agree with the way that the NBA does the playoffs. I don't know that I could on the spot think of a better way to do it, but I don't know if just people like living out West more than they like living out East. There's just more talent out there. And even the bottom, like you said, the Pistons and the Magic are terrible, which, that's essentially, well, I'm a Pistons fan, but now I'm moving to Tampa, which is an hour from Orlando.
Right over, yeah.
I don't got to have it any better. And I'm moving out of Memphis, and, obviously they're slaying it. And
now, yeah.
Did you see that? Did you see Stephen A. Smith say he would rather have Ja Morant in the playoffs than Giannis right now?
Yeah, I saw it. Actually, to tell you the truth, there were some people that were saying that Ja should be the MVP at this point. So definitely. And then obviously, I what was that, 2 days ago? Who went after Morant and Steven Adams just pretty much picked him up and walked him off the floor.
I saw a replay of that too.
So, but yeah, it's funny. The NBA, there's. I do like the format. Like the NFL, obviously, you can't have a best of 5 or best of 7. You just can't do that. But that's what I love about hockey and even basketball, because those guys are banging night after night, and tension's high. And that's why, in hockey, that's why, I mean, nothing. I don't care if you don't like hockey. There's nothing better than playoff hockey. There's nothing better getting, a series like that. There's just tension. I mean, there's so much going on.
I think it's because the fans are like right on the game, and especially if they've all got like towels waving, it's just all enclosed and it feels so rowdy.
Yeah. But anyway, so yes, and that's why I said the Lakers, they're honestly, LeBron James is the NBA's equivalent of the Major League Baseball Dave Dombrowski. He will go to your team. He will spend every penny you have to win that season, and then he will leave you with absolutely nothing. That's what Dave Dombrowski did to the Tigers. That's what Dave Dombrowski did with the Boston Red Sox. That's what he continues to do. So, and you're seeing it. The Lakers are they still. I mean, they can't get it going. They've got star after star. Big paycheck after big paycheck. But yeah, it's hard to watch the Lakers for one.
They're a bunch of old superstars that are just trying to pad their stats before they retire,
But either way, not to sit and talk a whole lot about hockey. Before we get to our roundtable topics, hopefully Zach's got one here. We do have some shows reminders here. Obviously, next week we're going to be off. Zach will be moving, so good luck to him in that move. Check out our YouTube channel. It's actually on the Belly Up YouTube channel, but we do have a dedicated slot there. We got the old producers making the graphics cards and stuff like that for us. Check out our IG. What's Up Belly Up? Obviously, IG. We haven't really posted a whole lot on there. We're gonna get into some clips and stuff like that. Got to get the producer and the editors on that stuff. But those are some. And actually, we talked about this too. We're gonna probably be getting some merch soon. Not that it really matters. We may be the only one that buys it. Maybe our parents, but that's all cool. So. But anyways, so before we head out, any burning topics for our roundtable? Anything that you just want to talk about? Anything that's been loaded up that we don't touch on that you want to talk before we head out?
Yeah, dude, it's been working me up all day. Been doing, I'm easy to work up these days. I'm doing all this packing, getting ready. Got a lot of shit to figure out and organize and logisticize before I get there, and so I'm eating like sandwiches from home, right? I'm trying to save money so I have money for the move. I don't know if do you eat sandwiches? Like you buy like deli meat for sandwiches?
Yeah, honestly, sometimes like it's like you can hit it out of the park with like a legit sandwich, but other times
yeah. And stuff like hard salami is like, it's packed nice, right? It's easy to peel off. But like if you get like ham or turkey, this shit is folded like 7 ways origami that like you can't pull one out with pulling out like 7. And then when you try to separate them, you're touching like 4 other slices of turkey or ham that you feel like now you got to put on the sandwich because you touched them with your hands. Dude, it was driving me crazy today. I'm like, who thinks like, obviously I know like that's probably better for packaging purposes, but it was driving me nuts, dude. I'm like, I can't be putting 16 slices of ham on this sandwich. Like, it'd be great, but I would have to go back to the store tomorrow, and I can't do that.
You know what? I'm gonna keep it kind of the same topic. So Wednesdays I'm off. Don't have anything. So the kids hang out with me at the house when my wife works, and they love their Lunchables, man. Love their Lunchables. It's easy for me. Throw my kids some Lunchables before I take my daughter to school. She only goes half day. She's in preschool right now. But what do? They definitely go after the cookies first. And then I look and the Lunchables are sitting there and they eat cookies. Well, I go to get in the fridge today and there's literally a Ziploc baggie of everything from a Lunchable just piled in it, minus the cookies. Looking like some broken bologna ass pieces and stuff like that. Like, and I'm just like sitting to myself, like, why do we even bag this? Might as well throw it away at that point. But it's funny. The kids just dive right in, looking for their Butterfinger, looking for their cookie or something.
I was gonna say, do they have what's their favorite cookie?
They like the Oreo. They love the Oreo chocolate chip. They're okay with, and they really love the pizza Lunchables. But I absolutely refuse to give them because they just make a giant freaking mess.
Yeah, here we go. Always eat the zero first because you never know what's gonna happen. Yeah, that's why you always live for today because tomorrow's not promised.
You know what? So just fill up there, but yeah, Zach, that's we made some outstanding time. Great. For those of you, I continue to talk about this. Zach and I are live live video right now on Twitter, Tiki, and YouTube. So for those of you guys tuning in tonight, we appreciate jumping in our comments. Gives us topics flow. I apologize for coughing. I tried to tune out as much as it is. Hopefully next week I'll be better.
If you're on Tiki, stick around. I think TSS is on after us.
Yeah, TSS Fantasy. They're at the 10 o'clock slot. For those of you guys that don't know, we got a Belly Up TV. That's what it is. It's through Tiki. You can get it through Amazon Fire Stick. You can get it through Roku. You actually download the Tiki app. I don't know, Zach, if you had a chance to do that. But
I tried to do it on Fire Stick. I couldn't find it. I thought maybe it was only a Roku thing, but I gotta look into it.
But it's a Belly Up TV. It's kind of like our own channel there. We got shows. TSS Fantasy on next, a great show. Those guys are a lot of fun. Obviously getting out of fantasy season, but they keep it real light. They do a lot of game shows, a lot of interesting stuff. So yes, continue to follow on. Check us out on Twitter at What's Up Belly Up. Obviously Instagram too. You can see what our show lineups. But we always are live every Thursday night, except for next week. Zach will be moving, so then we'll get back on track. But yes, live right now. Podcast version will be out tomorrow. But anything else, Zach, that just burning for before you before you move and we're off a week?
Just signing out for the last time from Memphis, Tennessee. I won't ever be recording from here again. Well,
it's bittersweet.
I shouldn't say never, but probably not from this little studio space right here. So this is the last one, and next, like you said, 2 weeks from now, our next show will be. It might look run down because I'll only be there a week, but it will be in a new studio. It'll be the first time, and hopefully it'll look better.
Live from Tampa. So there you go.
Tampa Bay.
But anyways, thank you for everybody tuning in tonight, jumping in our comments again. It helps. It helps with the flow. You love to see people jumping in, showing their support and stuff like that. We're on three different social media platforms right now. Live tomorrow will be the podcast version. But appreciate again jumping in. I'm Mike Brown. Got Zach back here. We'll be off next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Zach, enjoy your move. Don't text me if something happens. Other than if you need bail money. So, but we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. I appreciate it.